everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of Mint Out of the Box. I'm your host, the Godfather of Toys, the J-Bomb. Hope you all are having a fantastic weekend. Today is October 1st, day one of spooky season, and you know how excited we are about Halloween here at Mint Out of the Box. Thank you for checking out my last video, belt review. I kind of took a little bit of time in between videos because the belt reviews are kind of popular and I get a lot of questions and stuff, so we were trying to let that episode kind of cycle through before we jumped on this. This was something I was actually going to review. I'm a couple weeks late reviewing this. There's probably people already out there have, but I will give you guys my spin on it. It is another offering from Mattel Creations. It is a retro 4-pack, brief history. In about 1990, the big rubber LJN figures had come and gone. WWE decided, or WWF at the time decided to go to a different scale, different everything, down from big to small, no articulation to a lot more articulation. They came out with and a new company, and it was Hasbro at the time. Hasbro made these figures as an incredibly successful line that lasted from 1990 to about 1994. Is when the last green carded series started finding its way barely to stores, and there wouldn't be wrestling figures again for another year or two. So, but as you see in toy collecting, what is old is new again. A few years ago, they started making new versions of these with some of the individually carded figures that you find in stores. They had some classic figures they never made back in the day, along with some of the current superstars. And now this line has pretty much been regulated to either Mattel Creations or Ringside Collectibles did a NWO 4-pack to kind of the tag team sets with the members of the NWO. This is the latest one, and I was really excited about this because I finally got a Vader and a King Jerry Lawler, who are two of my favorite wrestlers. So without any further ado, I'm going to open this bad boy up. And even though she hasn't piped in yet, I'm always joined by the lovely one. My life. My wife! Producer Steph, how are you today? How is the first day of spooky season treating you?
I thought I was still in timeout, so I was behaving. I love October. I'm excited. We added a handful of new decorations to the Bat Cave, which is always a fun thing. I'm very excited.
It seems like we've hit a kind of a lull in finding stuff at the stores. I was going fast and furious there for a few months.
Yes, you were.
And there's a lot of stuff out there. I think this is the first time we actually took a road trip to Salt Lake to go to the Salt Lake Fan X convention. And while I'm doing this, I'll have producer Steph put a pause in the video, and here's some of the pictures from us meeting the cast of Smallville, and I'll show you some of the stuff I brought back. But other than this stuff,
it wasn't much though, and now it's all piled next to your bed. So after this, go clean your toys up.
It wasn't that much. This is probably the least amount of stuff I've ever brought back. You got to admit that.
I do.
I bought nothing at the convention.
There was nothing to buy.
Yeah, and
it was an Etsy convention.
And I found 3 figures, maybe?
4.
4? And one of them was one I bought just in case someone else needed it. I found a Chase Ricky Steamboat with the TV title belt that's been out of the stores for like 2 years now. So check that out, and I'll be right back. And that was the sights and sounds of Fan X, as you saw, 24 karat gold, and me and Marie, we all took a late summer road trip because of all our health issues. So we did that. We had a really good time. Like I said, it wasn't very fruitful in the collection thing, but I did get a couple of, as you saw, a few of my figures signed that I've had for like 20 years now, close to it.
Are they 20 years old, or are they brand new because we had to rebuy them because you don't know where yours are?
There's a lot of that going on in my life. So back to this. And again, we can thank producer Steph for tracking those down and buying them again for me.
You're welcome.
So as you take these out, see the Undertaker from the time he had his face injury and was wearing the little gimmick mask. You got a Vader. And you also got, this one I was really excited about, Jerry the King Lawler. I don't know if his crown comes off or not. I don't think it does. And Paul Bearer with Urn. They had the little collector card on the back that show the figures in the, not all the figures in the line, just the ones in this set. Instead of coming in a bubble, they come in this, what Mattel Creations has been doing lately, like with their Coliseum collection, where they put the clear sleeve thing over it. Which is cool because I think it kind of, if you're someone like me that likes to hang things up, you can put them all in the wall without cases. When I had my huge Hasbro collection that I kicked myself in the ass for having to sell off, I had all mine in cases up on the wall. It was a nice collection, but $15,000 is $15,000. So what I'm going to do, as I like to do, I'll open one up, and I'm going to go with the Jerry Lawler because I waited a long time for this figure. They make it real easy to open without having to damage the card. I like to hold on to my cards, even though I think I bought like 3 or 4 sets of these.
Shocking.
I think I did. Which one of them recently? Actually, no, I think I might only bought 2 of these. Yeah,
I don't think I was involved in this one.
No, I only bought 2. As you see, he has the punch. All these Hasbros came with these little gimmicks. The Lawler. I remember the original Jake the Snake had this. And, you know, since it's pretty easy to open, I'll open up Vader too. Vader has the same gimmick as Andre the Giant had, where he just kind of... But these were really cool because it was a big line. I was disappointed they only had 1 belt. You got the belt that came with the ring. But if you're creative like me, I made belts for my figures and found belts from other things and customized them. You're able to have, if you're able to get them all. I mean, towards the end of the line, they were kind of hard to get. Like, pretty much everything at the end of a line is kind of tough to get. So, oops, so much for that. And for playability and doing stuff with, it's a lot easier because if you had the big LJN ring and you threw all your wrestlers in that ring and try to carry it from room to room or move it around, that was heavy because those figures, you know, you throw about 25, 30 of those figures in there. That's a lot of weight. Unless you had them all organized on a shelf and you just match make like I used to do.
Yeah, say that sounds oddly specific.
So these were a lot easier. And like I said, during that time, the WWF merchandising machine was in full effect. These figures came out fairly regularly. And yeah, I think you'd get maybe 8 to 10, maybe 8 figures or so, maybe 6 to 8 in a wave. So you pretty much, they made all the big stars as they were popular. Like I said, towards the end, there was probably some omissions from the line that you really could, you know, make a case for not having. But all the major superstars are there. You know, some of the, I don't have any examples here because I still have the last series still sitting right here that I opened up with the Lex Luger and all that. Undertaker has the slam gimmick.
He's so short.
Yeah, compared to everybody else. But for 1990s technology, 1990s toy line, it was good. There was no other Galoob at the time made WCW figures, but they were kind of a smaller version of the LJN figures, meaning they were unposable. They were, set in a pose. Hard plastic, kind of like Army Men type. They were cool figures. I really liked them, and they were at the time compatible with these, so you could have some of the dream matchups or interchange them and stuff. If you WWE or WWF made some of the same people, so you had a Flair from both Hasbro and Galoob. You had a Lex Luger from Hasbro and Galoob. You had Steiner Brothers from Hasbro and Galoob. So you could go back and forth and change gimmicks, make other teams and stuff. So it was cool. I enjoyed it. I was probably a little bit too old to be playing with toys at the time, because in 1990 I was like a sophomore in high school. So.
And what are you now?
49.
Too old to play with toys?
I don't play with them though.
All right. What are you doing right now?
Reviewing them on a show.
That looks awful playful.
On a high-tech show, in my own home, in my own office, and an iPad, and that I have to work to pay for all this. It's not like I come home from work and bust out my toys and sit there and have matches. If I did, I have a whole organization over here. I could be doing it. I don't have any rings.
Oh no.
I do, but they're put away. But next to the Coliseum collection, which they've already announced the Roddy Piper, George Animal Steel line is coming out next in that line, and they've also announced their first tag team set, which is the Heart Foundation, which I'm super excited to see, because they're coming with from what I've seen in the pictures, they're coming with classic versions of the LJN brown belts that came with tag teams, and a more accurate tag team belts for the time they held them. I'll be the judge of how accurate they are, because if you know anything, the Heart Foundation had 2 different versions of the tag belts when they were champions. But we'll get to that when we eventually review them. I do like this. I like retro when it's done right. WWE is doing the retro right. I like that for the most part, they're making, with the Coliseum collection, they're basically so far remaking the LJN line, which I love, because it's the packaging, everything's throwback, and it's kind of, like I said, a more it kind of, like I said, it gives you those classic, retro vibes, but it's a more accurate, more detailed, updated version of it with the packaging and everything. So it's a really cool line, especially if you can't afford to go back and buy, spend probably hundreds of $1,000s to complete a set packaged. So it's a cool thing to put into a collection. And with these, I've noticed they're making, for the most part, the ones they're making now are kind of in line with the time period. So these were stars during the time that the Hasbros would have been available-ish. So like I said, we're getting Hasbro versions that they could have made during that time when that line was popular. The only thing they really haven't started remaking yet from actual Mattel is the bone crunching action figures, which came in the next wave, the next line after these, when Jakks Pacific took over, but that's another story for another day. I do like this. These are, like I said, these are really cool, and you're getting, like I said, you're getting characters that, they didn't make. I mean, they did make, actually, they made Tugboat, but they made him as Typhoon. They made a Doink, and I think the other Doink is far superior to this one. They did make a Greg Valentine, and they did advertise this on a magazine as a tag team set with Honky Tonk Man, but it never made it to shelves. And they made a Narcissist Lex Luger version of this, so. But I dig it. I see what they're doing. I like it, and I hope they keep it up. I hope they don't start ruining it with throwing in Roman Reigns and a
Otis Money in the Bank,
Cody Rhodes, or whoever's popular now, because I don't even watch WWE anymore. I can't. It's not wrestling as far as I'm concerned. But everyone is their own judge. So like I said, these are probably I'm pretty sure still available on MattelCreations.com. Check it out. And check it out if you're a He-Man collector. They got exclusives on there. They got exclusive WWE stuff. Monster High that I got to collect because of the Lovely one. So that's it for this week. Check them out if you want them. They're available. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week.
Bye.